Started. Good morning, everyone. I appreciate you guys coming out on such early notice. I know I had to change times again, but my schedule's kind of been all over the place, especially on Fridays. But I appreciate it. I'm gonna change it up a little bit. I'm not gonna give you guys tickers this time to go over. I'm just gonna kind of do it with y'all. But I really want to emphasize support and resistance, and then I'm gonna go over VWAP a little bit because this should just show you what I'm talking about. VWAP. All right. So VWAP is the same line on every time. So you weren't kidding, it is slow. Okay. So perfect. I already have this drawn out, but so one of the plays that I actually personally look for is when we get random big moves, big spikes in price action. So this was Intel, right? Random spike in volume and price action, right? We see it, and then it kind of dies down again, right? Because a lot of people miss this move because it happens so quick. So let's just circle this. This move happened so quick that a lot of people missed it, right? And VWAP is known as the volume weighted average price. So taking the average of the volume and the price action, it gives you this line. Right? So a lot of people look to buy at this line, right? Because no one wants to buy at the top. We're looking to buy at the average. All right. So a play that I personally look for is when we get big moves to watch it come back down to VWAP, touch VWAP, and then bounce. And that's what we're looking for, right? To see if it still has steam left to keep going. So I took this trade. I bought a 0 day, I think. I bought a 0 day. I bought a weekly. So we see this big move on the 15-minute. We come down. We touched VWAP perfectly. And on this candle, I bought weeklies. And then it came back down, touched it again, and then we continued higher. So we double bottomed on VWAP, then we continued higher. And then I sold up here at the top because we lost steam. You see how it didn't go any higher? So we have this really big green candle, but then we just went sideways. So on a weekly, theta's just going to eat our contract here. So I sold the weekly here. And this was like a 45, 55% increase on contract price. And so that's how we use VWAP. So let's just take a look at laser because I know laser took off. Okay, so this is a different kind of setup because it never really came back down to VWAP because we didn't have a big push in price, right? We kind of just gradually increased over the whole day. So let me see. This is JKS. This is going to be a while ago. So let's go back in time. Oh, it's right there. You guys have any questions over that first one we just went over? Be my guest to just listen to.
I noticed that it touched the VWAP exactly and bounced. What do you do when it breaks below the VWAP?
So when you're swinging and when you're day trading, you need to have different risk management, right? Because a weekly can get clapped a lot faster than if you bought a swing contract. Agreed?
Agreed.
So my plan on weeklies, right? I don't like playing weeklies a lot, but when I do play them, since I'm basing my entry on VWAP, under VWAP would be my exit.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And that's a 15-minute time frame.
Yeah, 15 minute. You could use 5 on a day trade. I
But
never changed
regardless,
it.
if it breaks that VWAP, you're done.
Yeah, if it breaks under and holds under, I'm out. All right, because I want to cut my losses quick on a weekly. Because one candle could destroy a contract. This happens a lot on like Roku because Roku is really just pump and dump, right? Like it moves fast. So the weekly contracts on Roku are really bad. So let me just. So if you bought here, right, you would have got clapped here, exited, and then you would have been like, oh, I missed out, and then you would have got clapped again on the downside. Roku moves really weird. See, we dump, and then we pumped all the way back up, and then we dumped again.
Yeah.
This is the same thing with like Beyond Meat. That's why I don't like playing Beyond Meat. They kind of do the same thing. It's all over the place. Like it moves a lot. So we pump and then we dump, pump. Right. Some stocks are just not meant to be played, in my opinion. Those are blacklisted for me.
Unpredictable.
Yeah, those are blacklisted for me. But that's just me. Like DKNG, I like DKNG stock, but it just moves bad, in my opinion.
Those stocks that move like that, would you say the premiums on them move just as much?
The premiums move pretty good. Actually, Roku contracts are really bad. They don't move. At least the swing contracts. I've had contracts where it's moved up like $4 or $5 and it's been like 5%. But DKNG contracts are actually pretty good.
Yeah, DKNG looked like it was setting up for me. I actually have it as a swing.
Yeah, I like it. It's just part of the risk management that I'm trying to take into next week. I just didn't want to play too many things. So right now I'm just in the DIA put. Because it could go either way, and if I have a bunch of calls, right, I don't want to get clapped on the market goes down, and then if I have a bunch of both ways, right, I don't want to just lose half of it, right, and then make some up on the other. So I'd rather just take less positions. Just play it safer. Because when we do start trending, we need all that capital, right?
Sure, I'm waiting for the trend to be, what I'm saying,
yes,
finalized. I'm tired of volatility.
Yep. So if we can just pretty much just, weather the storm now, we'll be golden when we start trending. All right. Because if we're making profits already in this volatility, just imagine what we could do when we know for the majority of the time what the market's going to be doing.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so we're going to be going up Monday through Thursday, and then everyone sells on Friday. And then we buy on Monday. All right, so we just need to survive this, right? And capital preservation and then risk management is going to be really, really key this next week. And just until something is finalized in the market, until we get some clarity on what direction the market's going to take.
Yeah,
that's going to be really important. Okay, so I actually do want to go over one play because I don't know if you were in the class the other day, but we actually talked about steel.
Okay. No, I wasn't in the class.
Okay, so let me show you what we were looking at. So let me take out VWAP because it's hard to see patterns because VWAP has 3 lines. Let me take this off too. So this is strictly on support and resistance. So we see on the daily, right, we have this massive cup and handle. So we looked at it on this day. After this day, so it had not yet got over this 22.47 line. But I also showed everyone that on the weekly we have a really big cup and handle too. At that 20, yeah, you see this?
Yeah.
1, 2, and then we touch it a third time here. And then we actually bounced on it here. So this is a really strong level here. So this is why I wanted to go over support and resistance today, because you can't tell this is a line here. Like this is a resistance for a day trade.
Mm.
Because so just like I said, risk management needs to be different when you're day trading and swing trading. I feel the same way about support and resistance. Because you can have these big support and resistance on the daily that are really obvious, right? These are clear. I would put those down immediately, right? But you don't see all these little support and resistances in the middle when you're trying to day trade, right?
Yeah, I call them the invisible resistance and support.
Yeah, so you see how the day before, right? This level we actually double topped perfectly. One, couldn't get over it again. Got close and then touched it with this wick perfectly. And then if we go back even one day or 2 days, we try to get under that level and then we just bean right back over it. So that was a clear indication to me that this is a pretty strong level, right? We double topped the day before. And then we have that big cup and handle, right, on the daily. And so
Yeah.
I know I took this trade. I know Clark took this trade. Clark bought weeklies on this. And I know he had to have been 80-90% on this. I was like 25-35% because I was starting to cut things because how the market was looking. But the play was there, right? We see the resistance from the day before. Right, and then we break over it, yeah, we come back down, and the entry would have been, this was my entry here, right? We break over, this is the breakout candle, and this is the confirmation candle, right? We break out, and then we wait for the confirmation, the next candle to hold over, but then we came back down a little bit, right? My risk management had not yet been hit, so on things like this, like breakouts, like this. These aren't really big moves that I like to use VWAP for. My risk management's like 30% on a weekly.
Okay.
And so it hadn't hit that yet. And then once again we break out here, and then this is also a confirmation candle, right? We hold over that level, and then we just slowly, gradually went up all day.
So this was all based on the breakout from
That level.
the daily. Okay, that daily level.
No, this is a 5-minute level. You can't even see this on a daily. I mean, you kind of, because you see that wick.
Yeah.
But that's what I based it on the 5-minute, right? You see that on the 5-minute.
Yeah, I see the double top.
So the pattern on the daily, right? We have that cup and handle. And then over that level would be the indication that we're breaking out of that handle on the daily. Right, that downtrend on the daily, and we're breaking that key level that it double topped at.
Okay, I got you. So the reason that you were looking at it to begin with was because of that daily cup and handle setup.
Yeah, daily cup and handle, and then
time frame.
Yep.
You looked for that resistance level that it needed to break above.
Yep. And then,
I got you.
And then sometimes, right, when we're trading, it doesn't always have it. Majority of the time, we don't hit levels that we're gonna take profit at, right? It's all based on really contract price. Right, so if you bought like a weekly, for some reason you were 100% up at this candle, right, you wouldn't even think twice about taking profit there, right? Or taking some off the table, right?
I probably would.
Yeah,
That's my problem.
Yeah, if you're one candle in, right, and so I think that's the big thing, right? A lot of new traders feel like they're gonna be missing out on a lot, but it's never a bad thing to take some off the table, right? So even if on this candle I was 50% and I had say like 30 contracts, it wouldn't have been a bad idea to just take some profit here, right? And then we keep going up, take some more profit, 100%, take some more profit, just take some as we go, right? Because this could have easily reversed at any time, right? Our vision's 2020 when we look in the past, right? Because we see obviously what happened. Right, but when this is going on in real time, we had no idea it was going to play out like this. Right, so it's never a bad idea just to take profit as we go. Right, because all those little gains are going to add up, right? Because if this thing reversed and you didn't take any profit, now you just wasted 50% of profit you could have had. right? And a lot of people get upset because they're like, oh, look at all this money I missed out on. But I was like, yeah, but you didn't know that, right? Because your vision was 2020. You saw it play out already. Because if that easily reversed, you would have been upset that you didn't take any off. And I think that's a big thing that new traders need to realize. That they look into the past on things that already happened and they complain, but real time you didn't know any of that. And so trading's all about real time. Right? And so that's why doing classes like this can only teach you so much until you have to go experience it. That's why I tell a lot of traders, like, go paper trade, right? You'll start to see what we're talking about. Right? We can't teach everything. Right? I can tell you as much as I want, right? But until you experience it personally, it's not going to really click and make sense. If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. You gotta trade it.
Yeah. You got to trade it, right? It's all perfect in the real world. I'm like, oh yeah, look at this pattern. It broke out and we kept going. But I can show you 50 different instances where we broke out of that pattern and it didn't work.
Yep, nothing's 100%.
Yeah. And so, like, that's a big thing that traders just need to realize, like, especially new traders, right? None of this is 100%. It's just not. I mean, if it was 100%, we would all be billionaires, right? We'd never lose.
Yeah, truly.
We'd never lose. And so
it's just not possible to have like a profit target. So I either if I do have a profit target, it's like based on a fib level, and if I don't feel comfortable with that fib level, then I just use like a cross in the MACD or something to let me know that the trade's done, or like a drop in the momentum on the TTM squeeze or something.
Yeah.
To let me know to get out, while you have what you have.
Yeah, so like a big thing, like for me on weeklies, or just in general, just trading in general, if we're going and if we have a weekly, right, theta is going to be really high. All right, is it going to be higher than a swing contract? And so if we start losing momentum, that's kind of my indication when to get out.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see. I told you I grabbed those Intel weeklies, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we were going. We looked fine. And then we kept going, right? We made a pretty big move here, dipped a little bit, big move, and then we kind of just went sideways and didn't go any higher. And then I just sold it because I didn't want theta to eat the rest of my contract, right?
Yeah. Can you put VWAP back on the screen right here?
Yeah.
Real quick. Just want to see.
Yeah, exactly.
Price reactivity.
Yeah. See how we double bottom on VWAP?
Yeah, right at it. That's great.
Yeah, Tom, exactly. So that's how, like, especially weekly contracts, if we just stay in the same spot, right, or if we even go down and come back to the same spot, the theta is eating it that whole time that it made that move. Like, it doesn't look like much, but now we have to go even higher than when we bought it to even out that contract.
Yeah, especially closer to the end of the week, like Thursday.
Yeah, because
Friday.
theta increases actually as we get closer to expiration. So a weekly on Monday is not going to have the same theta as if we bought that same contract on like Thursday or Friday. The theta is going to be way higher on Thursday or Friday because we're almost at expiration. And and that's why weeklies or 0 days are risky, right? Because if you buy a 0 day and you can lose 2 out of the 3 ways, right? It could sit flat or it could go the other way. And that's why 0 days are like, we are willing to risk it all, right? We're looking for a big move. We're going light. We're looking for a really big move and a high percent. All right, so
take a look at JPM on this is a 5 minute. Yeah, JPM 5 minute on Friday. Yeah, so I got in here bearish on that first 5 minute candle,
Okay.
and I took it. But I didn't sell. I didn't sell at my fib target. Man, I'll tell you what happened with the premiums. It just died, man.
Yeah, and that's also what I don't know if you saw what Clark was talking about. He sent out a thing that says when he swings, he likes to sell like the first 30 minutes, right? Because a lot of day traders and scalpers are getting in, and that's increasing the premium and increasing the implied volatility on the contract, and it makes the contract worth more.
Yeah, I've noticed that like right around 30 minutes after bell, like everything kind of dies or turns around for a bit.
Yeah, and so that's why even his risk management is he likes to buy 30 minutes after market open, right? Because there's a lot of things, you just had pre-market, aftermarket, and a lot of things could have happened, and we're just trying to organize for the first 30 minutes of the day to finally pick a direction. So let me see if I can find, like this, okay. So if you would have bought this first 30 minutes, oh wait, this is a 5 minute. Let's see. I mean, yeah, if you bought this first candle, right, on the 15 minute, it doesn't look bad, right? We're continuing higher aftermarket and pre-market, right?
Yep.
But then all the contracts settle, right, and then we dump. Right, so that's why playing like the first 5 or just first 30 minutes of market open is really risky, right? Because it's just a lot of people like settling. Like we're just settling the dust, right? The calm. We're trying to settle everything, and then we finally pick a direction. And I think this happens a lot with SPY. Maybe not recently, but SPY's been doing that a lot. It's been either sitting flat at open and then making a really big move, or it goes up a little bit and then we see a really big move. So
that INTC trade, when you traded that, was that based on a weekly draw that you had, or was it just like it came up, you just went
and
at it?
so I'm pretty sure this was news related. This candle was news related.
Okay.
And then obviously I didn't want to chase on this big candle. And so I waited for it to come back down to VWAP, right? That's one of my setups that I like to see. And then we had this green candle right off VWAP. And so I bought it there. It dipped. And then I was like, all right, if it goes under VWAP and holds, then I'll get out, right, for a small percentage loss. But if it continues higher, it's going to be a really big play, right? And I'm going to make money.
Gotcha. So I think Disney had a big pop this week at some point.
Yeah.
Do according to VWAP.
Yeah, I remember that. I think it's...
But 3 days ago.
Right
3
here.
days ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not as clean, right?
Not as clean.
So we increased, and I'm pretty sure this is them saying that they're opening all California locations.
Really news.
Yeah, and so we come down. All right, and let's take a look on the 5 minute, because if you're day trading, you're probably on the 5 minute, right? So, right, there's not a whole lot going on here, but we had this really big green candle, came back down, all right, and then we beam back over it, come back down, touch it again, and then we continue higher.
Well, in this situation, what would you have done? Would you have not played it at all because it didn't hold a VWAP, or?
It really, especially now, it really depends on how the market's doing. Right, so if this green bean happened while the market's going down, probably not. But let's just say in a perfect situation, right, market's trending, right, and this happened.
Yeah.
Okay. So we are dipping under this, right? And I want to see, when I see a VWAP, right, I don't want to just see it touch it and then green like this. I want to see like a continuation, like for the next candle. So like Intel, I actually think that I think I said earlier that I bought it on that first candle that touched it. But I actually bought it on this one, this entry one.
Okay, a break above the previous.
Yeah, so this one, yeah, it bounced, but we could have easily just gone back down, right? I want to see if it like holds that bounce. So it's kind of like breaking out of resistance. So just say there's some I'll just draw a random resistance line here just to show. So if we had a resistance line here, right? We get over it. This is just the breakout candle. I want to see if it actually holds above that. And so this candle held above it, and so I entered. So it's all about the confirmation. One candle isn't confirmation.
So what you consider confirmation is when that candle, after the breakout candle,
yes,
holds above that level?
Yes.
Gotcha.
So here, either could have got in on this candle. So this breaks over VWAP, right? And then either you could have got this candle, or it comes down, touches it, and then while this candle is forming, we could have grabbed this one.
Gotcha.
You really, in ideal, you want to wait for the candle to finish. You want it to close. So you want this candle to close over.
Above.
Yeah, because we could, 4 minutes into this candle, we could be up here, but then that last minute, we could easily just reverse.
Yeah.
So, yes. So, in an ideal world, you want to see a breakover, and then you want to see the next candle hold.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. I might actually just make this class about VWAP. It's a really powerful thing. Okay, so let's see any other things. Okay, let's check VWAP. Let's just see how this did on VWAP. Okay.
I learned for that over the weekend too, but
okay.
I know it's not so.
So this touched VWAP twice pretty perfectly. All right.
Yeah.
So just like any support and resistance, we go over, we come back down to retest, and this could have been the entry here on this candle. I'm actually sad I didn't take this trade. I was watching it. This candle. So, yeah, just like I said earlier, right? We're just chop at open, right? We're just trying to settle the dust. And then we bounce off VWAP, confirmation candle here. Could have entered. Then we go a little sideways, increasing a little bit, and then we come back down, touch VWAP, and then we have another confirmation candle after it touches. And then we would have caught all this move. What is this move? So 25. So is that a $4 move? And I know these contracts were up over 1,000% at open because I was watching it.
What about Facebook? How'd that do with VWAP? Because I got an alert for it, but I was like, the market's going down, so I'm not going to buy it. I wish I did. Oh, look, it did well with VWAP.
So, yeah, we went higher, came back down, didn't close under VWAP, right? We closed actually above it. Then the touch, and then this would have been the enter, this candle.
Confirmation above.
Yep. And then the exit would have been, I already had this level drawn out. But my personal exit would have either been, it would have either been around, but this all really depends on how much percentage, right?
Yeah.
For me, it really depends on how much I'm up and how much I'm willing to lose. But at this point, so we can kind of see we have these 3 wicks right here. Right, so we look like we're hugging the top upper band of VWAP. And then we have these wicks. So this could have been your first profit, but definitely here. You see how massive these wicks are?
Yeah.
This would have been my exit. And then you see we go up a little bit higher, but then we didn't really do much.
Yeah.
So theta would have just ate us up.
I would have exited when the MACD turned back red, or we got that first blue, dark blue and green on the TTM.
Yeah. So, yeah, that would have been the perfect exit right there on the TTM.
Yeah, when the momentum dies and it's done.
Yeah. And so, based on the candlesticks, but also you see on the 5-minute, it says we're overbought on the stochastic. And then when we finally come back down, that's the exit point. So, yeah, I would have been, if I would have sold here, I know I would have been up a pretty good amount. We moved,
Yeah, especially Friday, same
yeah,
day
a weekly.
expiration.
Yeah.
It did really well.
Yeah, that's like a, what is this? $4 or $5 move.
It
Just
did
from
really
here to
well.
here on my first profit right here. And then definitely up here would have been the exit, 100%. Right? We see a lot of massive wicks, right? And we don't see any price action going higher. So yeah,
Yeah, that VWAP entry would have been great.
that's how we use VWAP right there. Come up, touch it, then we have the confirmation candle, and then we enter the trade. And then
Confirmation candle.
and then on a weekly, personally, my exit would be under that VWAP, right? If our entry is VWAP, my exit's gonna be VWAP.
Okay, so basically a confirmation below VWAP, right?
Yeah. So if we
Gotcha.
didn't say we had this candle, right, and I enter, and then we just reversed, and we reverse back down, if we just
Mm,
touch VWAP and continue higher, I'd stay in the trade. But if it went under VWAP, then I would have just exited. But we didn't, so we just continued going higher, and then we saw price action, stalled, and then that's when we exited. What else did pretty good on Friday? Oh, I know I entered box. So this never actually touched VWAP. But y'all see this pattern? We go over this a lot. What do you say this pattern is?
that bull flag.
Yeah. Right, we rally super hard, and then volume decreases, and now volume increases again. All right, bull
What was
flag.
that box? Two blocks.
Yeah. And so I entered this trade on that idea, and so let me show you. This is kind of like that X entry. Okay, so you see this line? So
Yeah.
let me take off VWAP because I didn't use it. So it got stuck. Actually, if I extend it some more. So it touched it 1, 2, couldn't get over 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. And then we finally broke over it on this candle. And this was a 45%.
It was a pretty good move.
Yeah, that's
So, how do you know, like, when a trade's ready to test that resistance line? Like, how do you know when it's time to, okay, let me look at this one because it's about to test and break above maybe this resistance line.
how do I know? I just watch it.
So based on that, you look for that big pattern first and then look for an area where it needs to break above.
Yeah. So you see this is actually pretty solid even on the 5-minute, right? We rally 4 candles, then reject that area. And then this actually looks like a bull flag.
Yeah, it does.
It's a mini bull flag. Or call it however you want, right? But if we're trying to look long, right, it just needs to break out. And then it broke out of the little bull flag. Broke out of the little bull flag. However, we need that confirmation candle, so the entry would actually been on this candle.
Gotcha.
So the entry would have been on that candle. Right? We have the
Yeah.
breakout candle, the confirmation candle, and now we capture this, let's see, 22.25, and if we caught it to the top, what is that? Like a 75-cent move?
That was a good run.
75-cent move for a stock at 22. It's a pretty big move.
That's pretty good.
It's a 7%. So this is a 7% move from close. Right? So it's 7%, and that's just from open to close. Imagine how high that was at the top.
Yeah.
That was at 8, 9%, maybe 10% move of the whole stock in one day. That's a really big move.
Oh, can you throw a VWAP on there? Let's see if how it interacted with the VWAP.
It didn't touch VWAP.
No?
Not this time.
Okay.
So
It was, I guess, too strong. Maybe.
Yeah, too strong of a move sometimes. And that's a good thing. But I can bet you, let me put the 9 EMA on there. So normally, right, if we never come back down to touch VWAP, the 9 EMA is right there. So if it's not holding VWAP, it's normally hugging the 9 EMA. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, you see that?
Mm-hmm.
So let me change the color.
Well, basically, the 2 places you can look for a solid bounce, maybe.
Yep.
You know, if it holds and gives you a confirmation kick.
So if you were looking at this, right, where would you have taken profit? I can see an obvious one, and I'm gonna tell you why, but I want to see if you could see why.
Well, I do see right there where MACD crossed back. I'll probably take it there. 12.26 line where it crossed back under. I'll take off money.
Okay. Okay. But not to do with any of these indicators. Just what's on the chart, the 9 EMA and the VWAP.
So I'm not very good with any kind of candlestick patterns. It's
Okay.
more like the candlesticks themselves.
Okay. So let me explain this, right? So we see all day we're holding this 9 EMA, right? We actually bounced, and then we're holding it all day, right? As soon as we break under that 9 EMA, because it's proven all day that it's been strong support. As soon as we break under that, that would be the exit. Right.
It's all about that confirmation candle, I guess.
Yeah, it's all about the confirmation candle because it's easy to be faked out, right? They're trying to make it
easy.
Yeah, the market makers are trying to make it hard, right? They know where you're at, they know what you're looking at, right? That's why we need that confirmation.
Gotcha.
Right? Because if we're seeing this, what do you think the people that have been doing this their whole lives, that have all the algorithms, are doing? They're looking at the same thing. And then it's things like that, right? So it's proven it's all about historic data, right? So historically now, we're seeing that it's been holding this 9 EMA all day. So it has proven to us that it's been a strong support. All right? And so now when it finally breaks that support, just like any other play, you would get out. All right?
Yep. Let's take a look at Starbucks on Friday. See how
Okay.
Their position in there.
Okay, this is just going to be one of the plays that got really affected by the market. But once again, right? So just say the market was perfectly trending, right? And you wanted to get long in Starbucks. Once again, right? We come up, we touch VWAP, go under. This is the breakout candle here. Breakout candle, entry candle. All right, just like anything else. Breakout, entry. And that goes for any support and resistance, right? So let's go to let's go back to Facebook. Let's see. See, it's hard to do some technical analysis right now because a lot of the movement has to do with how the market was doing.
Yeah.
And so it's not really moving like it should be. Did I show laser? Okay, so yeah. So I talked about laser, right? Really strong move. Never touched VWAP. It touched it once, right?
Yeah.
But it held this 9 EMA all the way to the top.
Okay.
And then we broke under, confirmation we break under, and then that's where you would have sold.
Yeah.
Just like
that's
that.
Pretty good.
Yeah. So that's what a lot of the leaders actually look at for like really strong plays, right? Because if it's truly a strong play, people want to buy it at the average, right? You don't want to buy it above average because who would want to do that? Why would you want to pay more? And so if it makes a really sudden move, all investors are trying to get it at that average or below average price, right? We want it cheap. And so that's where we're looking at VWAP. to buy it at. So this didn't make an incredibly large move at first, but it did come down, touch VWAP and the 9 EMA and bounced. And then this would have been the entry candle.
Yeah.
But this did have some news that we've been waiting on, right? It had, so let me show you in pre-market. This had really big news about a partnership. And then we just continued down with the market. And then it finally came through. The news finally came through.
Looked like I had earnings that day before too.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things going on there. Right?
Yeah.
But that's pretty much the gist of it, right? We want to play the momentum, right? But playing momentum doesn't mean just buy it as soon as we have one big candle.
Yeah.
Because that could easily just be a pump and dump.
Yeah, I went wrong with Disney with that. I was just like running with the hype.
Yeah.
You know?
And so that actually happened with Ford the first time it popped, right? It came out saying that they were making a deal with Google. So let me see if I can find that. Here on this candle. Let me go back. Try to get it on the 5 minute. Okay. Oh my. Why is it moving so much? It's hard to find things on the 1 minute. Here.
Yeah.
Okay, so on this, right? This is news related, right? Big deal with Google. So I entered this. We got weeklies, and then those got up like 100% instantly, right? And then I chased and bought farther out at the top, right? Which we shouldn't have done, right? We should have waited a big move. We should have waited to try to get it at the average, right?
Yeah.
Trying to get it cheap. All right, so it kind of held VWAP, right? We come down, come over, right? Could have held VWAP. And if you actually bought it here, you might have made a little profit to swing into the next day. All right, but I don't think this news really played out unless you held it for a little bit. Right, so if we held it for a couple days, right, for a swing, all right, we got all the way up to $12 almost from 11. That's a whole dollar move. That's a really big move.
Yeah.
A whole dollar move. Stock was only at 12.
Yeah, especially with Ford. It's cheap.
Yeah, so that's a really big move, right? So we just had to be patient, waited to get it at VWAP, right? Swung it, and then we would have got paid out. Probably would have sold it before they had earnings here, so probably would have sold it somewhere in this day. So probably could have sold it here. Right. But that's how I look at VWAP, right? Because if we have a big move, investors are waiting to buy it cheap. It'll come back down eventually, and if it doesn't, oh well.
So what do you use that's like similar to VWAP on the daily?
There is nothing.
Okay. You don't use like the 9 EMA that work the same way?
No, yeah, I use all the, but as I told you, VWAP is the same on every time frame.
Yeah.
So it is literally the same on the daily. It's gonna look the same on the weekly. It's gonna look the same. That's why it just looks like a blue line going through the day. It's gonna look the same on every time frame. It never changes. Now the 9 EMA and stuff changes based on the time frame. Because the 9 EMA is based on 9 candles, the last 9 candles. VWAP is just determined on price and volume, and price and volume never change because it's the same on every time frame. Okay, does anyone have any questions? All right, if no one, you have a question?
No, I'm saying I appreciate it, man.
Okay, yeah, if no one has any questions, that's kind of all I wanted to go over. I just wanted to talk over VWAP and kind of show the understanding and how the leaders really want you guys to understand how we use VWAP, because we believe it's actually a really strong tool. All right, it's a really strong tool. And then I kind of wanted to go over the 9 EMA because not everything always comes back. It might be too strong to go off of VWAP, right? If this trend is too strong, it's going to be holding something else. And most of the time, it's going to be that 9 EMA. All right, so if it's really strong, we saw with laser. Let me show it again. Right? Laser, it held that 9 EMA on the 5-minute really strong, right? Really well. Intel, right? See the trend here? Bounce off VWAP, held that 9 EMA on the 5-minute, and then we dipped under it. So it's kind of just developing, just to show you guys. So you guys can even see on this trend here, right? Held the 9 EMA on the 5-minute. Strong trend, 9 EMA. Boom, sell it here. All right. So just to give you guys an idea on how we use it, right? We don't use the 9 EMAs. We don't use EMAs and SMAs as crossovers because they lag, right? All indicators are lagging, which means we have to wait for the candlestick to close for the 9 EMA to actually change, right? Because it takes the last 9 candlesticks, right? And the 9th one is the one that's occurring. So it changes as that candlestick is changing, which means it's lagging. So it could cross, and by the time that candlestick is closed, it could be back open, right? So it's not a really good cross indicator. We use it as more of a we call it dynamic support and resistance because it moves with price action. Okay, if nobody has any other questions, I appreciate everyone coming out. I'll see you guys on Wednesday, and I hope you guys post those profits so we can get another wheel spin on Friday.
All right, thanks, Ace.
Yeah, appreciate everyone coming out.